having girl problems, I feel bad for you, son. I've got 99 problems. But a bitch?
Ain't one.
If you guys have been paying attention to the social media space as of late, you guys will come across a topic that had been trending on the day of Christmas last year, 2023, if not a couple of days after Christmas. If you guys are unaware as to what I'm talking about, I am alluding to the case of Maglera Doe Boy with regards to a rather uncomfortable video he posted on Twitter, to people's dismay that is. As for whether this video is appeasing to my eyes or not doesn't really matter. Social media is social media, it's not a real place to me. However, this video and the reverberations of backlash it had been receiving over the past 2 days, that being the days, after Christmas, had managed to really capture my attention, as this phenomenon has now preceded rap and has found footing in what I would like to believe are the repercussions of poverty, classism, as well as the black identity, as well as how these three subject matters associate themselves with rap. So to clarify on what happened, Maglera Doe Boy, 30-year-old South African rapper who emerged from the impoverished backgrounds of Klerksdorp, dropped a video on Twitter which has been sparking some controversy. Now the video in itself depicts and reflects his upbringing, as he is seen sharing a Hennessy bottle with what some part of the populace would deduce to being hoodlums and gangsters, with certain viewers taking notice of the gangster vernacular, tattoos, as well as the obviously seen knives befitting of those who've dedicated their lives to the streets. Now this whole thing to me is honestly a very humorously intriguing occurrence, and while I would love to compress it all into something as simple as a spectrum of contrasting beliefs and perspectives, say the rich Twitter snobs versus the poor, I instead think of this as a cyclical spectrum, something resembling a pie chart, if one can call it that, in the sense that we have sections, portions and angles of this very same circle that don't truly align with each other. In one section, we have citizens of South Africa demonizing the rapper for glamorizing a lifestyle of criminality, which for those who are unaware has been a very large and detrimental experience for South Africa, occurring from the streets to unlawful business practices in the private sector, all the way up to the comforts of political power, with scandals of presidents being accused for corruption. Conclusion: South Africa has a very big problem with crime. Now, it does not take an intellectual person who does rocket science to see that this angle is justified. I don't think any society should condone nor partake in crime for the sake of personal profit or benefits. However, we need to keep in mind that South Africa is a country built on crime, tracing all the way back to apartheid as well as times before, where those of melanin skin color, what we would deem to be our ancestors, were still taken advantage of with no sight of recompensation even centuries after, bringing us to a modern South Africa, leaving many Africans disenfranchised and living in poverty. And as such, a life of crime has surrounded Maglera's life, predating as far as his childhood. It then only makes sense for the rapper to display his upbringing of hood culture, as well as the repercussions of facing poverty and violence in underprivileged communities. And after all, the guys in this video are his childhood friends, or so some may believe. This leads me to my next couple of points, that being the authenticity of the rapper's lifestyle, as well as how this video is seen as a pure and uncut reflection of the livelihoods of many South Africans situated in townships and so forth. Now, I believe this narrative is false. If anything, the reality and reflection of the people is rather that of victimhood, living in a country where the majority, regardless of social class and status, are subjected to the violence of the few willing to take advantage of the many in order to survive. This insinuation of those willing to defend the video as one's own proclivity for such a lifestyle is a stereotype portraying Africans with a natural predisposition to violence, crime and so forth. Clearly, the black identity still has a long way to go, as our worth is still very much derived from the suffering and hardships we face, thus creating the illusion of authenticity, being a result of the black struggle. And what person of color wouldn't want to be seen as quote-unquote real? Honestly, that could be my only reason as to why certain folks have been romanticizing the video. However, this is contradictory for Maglera. Some believe these people in the videos are just para-paras, a colloquial South African term used to define drug addicts who resort to terrorizing their communities through criminal activities. These guys are willing to do anything for fix. Let's say hanging out with some unimportant rapper for shots of Hennessy while he takes pictures of them for the gram. This is but one of the many narratives that created an uproar in the Twitter streets, suggesting that Maglera could be a fake. And to be honest, this view of him is partially sensible. I mean, why would a successful rapper who, according to his raps, is aware of the detriments of street culture go back, much less embrace the lifestyle. While yes, you came from that life, you most certainly do not currently live it. You made it out, dog. If anything, I would guess the conclusionary point of this video is that in being an artist, does Maglera not have an artistic responsibility to expand and uplift rather than leaving space for those to either idolize, quote unquote, the realness or create this need for street cred thereafter? Thanks for watching.